Hello everyone, welcome to the yarn bowl. Today in this video we are going to see how to crochet this cute flower pot, and it's a very simple and easy pattern. If you want a free written pattern of this flower pot, it's available in my website theyarnbowlcrochet.com. Link for that is available in the description. If you have an Instagram account, do follow me on my Instagram handle as well. I post project updates and fun reels on my Instagram. And if you are new to this channel, please do not forget to subscribe to the yarn bowl and click on the bell icon as well so that you get notified whenever I post a new video. These are the colors of yarn that I'm going to use for working this flower pot. I'm choosing size 4 acrylic yarn, one light brown shade for the pot and brown for the dirt, and yellow and brown for the flower, and green for leaves. We'll need glue gun, floral wire, and I'm going to use 3.5mm crochet hook, and I'll need some pebbles and a cutter for cutting the floral wire. So we'll need these pebbles just to add weights to our pot so that it stands in place. We'll need scissors, stitch marker, and a blunt tip of a metal crochet hook. So this we'll need to tuck in all the extra yarns that we may have, and we'll need scissors, and I will also need a bottle cap which I'll add to the base of the pot, and we'll need polyfil as well. First let's start working the sunflower. For that, with the brown yarn, I'm going to work a magic ring for our round one, and I'm going to work 6 single crochets on the magic ring. So at the end of round one I'll have 6 stitches. Once you have worked your round one, tighten the magic ring, and we'll start working our round 2 right away. We'll not work slip stitch at the end of round 1. So for round 2 I'm going to work 2 single crochet stitches on each stitch of round 1. So at the end of round 2 I'll have 12 stitches. Go ahead, work 2 single crochet stitch on each stitch of round 1. Don't forget to mark your first stitch of round 2 with a stitch marker, and proceed working 2 single crochets on each stitch of round 1. You should have 12 stitches at the end of round 2. So once you have worked your round 2, tighten the magic ring even more and secure it with a knot. For round 3 I'm going to work 1 single crochet in one stitch and 2 single crochet on the next stitch around. Mark your first stitch with the stitch marker and proceed working 2 single crochet on the next stitch, and then I'm going to repeat working 1 single crochet in one stitch and 2 single crochet on the next stitch around. You should have 18 stitches at the end of round 3. Go ahead, work round 3. So now that we have completed our round 3, you can snip off the yarn. I'm going to make one more of this using the same pattern. While I'm working the second piece, I'm not going to snip off the yarn because we'll need to attach these 2 pieces together. So only while working one piece I'll snip off, and while working the next one I'm just going to leave the yarn, and then I'm going to pick up the back loop of each stitch. I'm going to face these 2 rounds facing their wrong sides inside, and then I'll pick up the back loop of each of these rounds and work slip stitches around, just so that I am not missing any stitches I'm just marking your first slip stitch with a stitch marker, and then I'll work slip stitches on the back loop of each of this round around. So complete working the slip stitches around. So as we go, we can stuff it a little bit with the polyfill. So it'll be difficult at the beginning to start stuffing. At least complete half of the round, and then we can stuff it with the polyfill. Go ahead, work slip stitches around. So as I told you earlier, I'm going to stuff my work with polyfill as I work slip stitches around. And once we are done, we'll work slip stitch, snip off the extra yarn and stuff the yarn bit inside the amigurumi itself. Now let's start working the petals. For that I'm going to use yellow yarn. I'm just going to grab that yarn to any of the slip stitches, any one loop, or you can grab both of the loop of your slip stitch, and then I'm going to work a chain 3, and then I'm going to grab the next stitch. So as I told you, I'm just grabbing one of the loop of slip stitch here. You can also use 2 loops, both front and back loops. So in the next stitch I'm working 3 double crochet stitches. So I started off with a chain 3 in one stitch, and then I worked 3 double crochet on the next stitch, and then I'm going to work a chain 3 and then work slip stitch on the next stitch. I'm going to repeat this pattern around. I'll work a chain 3 and then I'm going to grab next stitch, and then I'll work 3 double crochet stitches on it. So here I'm just grabbing one of the loop, front loop of my slip stitch that I worked around in the brown round, and then following this pattern. So once I have worked 3 double crochet stitches, I'm going to work a chain 3 and then I'll grab the next stitch and work a slip stitch on it. Then I'll repeat this pattern, work chain 3 and then work 3 double crochet on the next stitch, and then once again work a chain 3 and then work a slip stitch on the next stitch. So repeat this pattern around for working the petals. I'll meet you at the end of this round. So here we are at the end of this round. So we have worked all our petals. So now I'm working the double crochet stitch. After that I'll work chain 3 and then work a slip stitch on the starting point of our chain 3, and then you can work a slip stitch, snip off your yarn and then weave your ends, and then you can tuck in the yarn bit inside the amigurumi itself. That's it, our flower is done. Next step, we're going to start working the leaves. Before that I'm tucking the yarn bit inside the amigurumi. Gently press the petals so that they are not looking like folded ones. Now our flower is ready. Next step, we are going to work leaf. Make 2 of these following this pattern. So for leaf I'm going to choose green yarn. I'm just choosing a bottle green yarn here, and then after that work a slip knot and then work 8 chains. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. After you have worked 8 chains, on the second chain from the hook, work 3 slip stitches. It's little bit difficult to work 3 slip stitch on the same chain, but it gives a nice look to your leaf. And then I'm going to work 1 single crochet stitch on the next stitch, and then I'm going to work one half double crochet stitch on the next chain, and then I'll work 1 double crochet on the next chain, and then I'm going to work 1 half double crochet on the next chain, and then I'm going to work 1 single crochet on the next chain, and on the last chain I will work 3 slip stitches again. This is going to turn my work on the other side. So while you're working on the other side, make sure you consume this yarn bit that we have left during the beginning of our leaf. So on the opposite side, I'm going to work 1 single crochet on the same chain. We have worked single crochet on the opposite side, and then I'm going to work 1 half double crochet on the next chain on the opposite side, and then I'm going to work 1 double crochet on the next chain on the opposite side, and then I'm going to work 1 half double crochet on the next chain, and then I'm going to work a single crochet on the next chain. After that, I'm going to work a slip stitch on top of starting slip stitch to close this leaf. It's a little tricky to grab that stitch. So once you have worked a slip stitch, you can weave the ends and snip off the yarn bits. So now we have worked 1 leaf. So follow the same pattern and work the other leaf as well. So we'll need 2 leaf for our flower pot. So this is one of the leaf that I worked. You're going to follow the same pattern and work a second leaf as well. Next, we are going to work the flower pot. For working the pot, I'm going to choose a light brown color yarn. So with that, I'm going to work a magic ring for our round 1, and then I'm going to work 6 single crochet stitches on the magic ring. So again, we are going to work in a spiral. So we are not going to end each round with a slip stitch. We'll start the next round right away. So at the end of round 1, we have 6 stitches. I'm going to tighten my magic ring and start working my round 2. For round 2, I'm going to work 2 single crochet stitch on each stitch of the previous round, and mark your first stitch of the round 2 with a stitch marker and proceed working 2 single crochet on each stitch around. So you should have 12 stitches at the end of round 2. So after that, we are going to work round 3. So after you have completed your round 2, you can tighten the magic ring even more and secure it with a knot. Then start working round 3. For round 3, I'm going to work 1 single crochet in 1 stitch and 2 single crochet on the next stitch around. So you should have 18 stitches at the end of round 3. So don't forget to mark your first stitch with a stitch marker and proceed working 1 single crochet in 1 stitch and 2 single crochet on the next stitch around. So you should have 18 stitches at the end of round 3. Continue working round 3. I'll meet you at the end of round 3. So now we are at the end of round 3. So for round 4, it's little bit tricky. You're going to find the third loop of each stitch. So it's right behind your front and back loop. If you just gently tilt your work, it's going to lie there. So we're going to grab that third loop so that our base is stiff for the pot. So if you can't grab the third loop, use a thin needle or a very small fine crochet hook to grab it for you, and then work one single crochet on each of these third loop. So I'm marking my first stitch that I have worked in the third loop, and then I'm going to proceed working one single crochet on the third loop of each stitch around. So for round 4 we are still going to have 18 stitches. So grab the third loop of each stitch and then work one single crochet on it. So continue working this way around. You should have 18 stitches at the end of round 4. So now I'm at the end of round 4. So for round 5 I'm just going to work one single crochet on each stitch around. So this I'm going to grab both of my loops and then I'll work one single crochet on it. So grab each stitch and work one single crochet on each stitch around. You should have 18 stitches at the end of round 5. So for round 6 and 7 also we are going to do the same thing. We are just going to work one single crochet on each stitch around. So now work your round 5, which will be working one single crochet on each stitch around. So now I'm at the end of round 5. So as I told you earlier, we're going to repeat the same thing for round 6 and 7 as well. So just work one single crochet on each stitch around for round 6. So at the end of round 6 also we are going to have 18 stitches. So now we are going to repeat the same thing for round 7 also. We are just going to work one single crochet on each stitch around. Don't forget to mark your first stitch with a stitch marker and then work one single crochet on each stitch around. So you should have 18 stitches at the end of round 7. So we are at the end of round 7. We're just going to work one more increment round. So I'm going to work one single crochet each for 2 stitches and then I'll work 2 single crochet on the same stitch for the third stitch. Marking my first stitch with a stitch marker, and then I'll go ahead work one single crochet on the next stitch, and then I'll work 2 single crochet on the same stitch for the next stitch. I'm going to repeat this pattern. I'm going to work one single crochet each for 2 stitches and then I'll work 2 single crochet on the same stitch for the next stitch. Repeat this pattern around. You should have 24 stitches at the end of round 8. Go ahead, repeat this pattern around. I'll meet you at the end of round 8. So now for round 9, I'm just going to work one single crochet on each stitch around. So you'll still have 24 stitches at the end of round 9. Go ahead, work one single crochet on each stitch around. So now that my round 9 is done, I'm just gonna make a big loop and take off my crochet hook, but do not work slip stitches or snip off your yarn. I'm just placing 2 pebbles on the bottle cap and placing inside the flower pot to make it the base straight and add a little weight to the pot so that they don't fall down. So after this you can stuff your work with polyfill and then crochet a dart and attach it to the top. We're going to see how to crochet a dart. And for that I'm gonna grab a dark brown yarn, and then I'll work a magic ring for my round one, and then I'll work 6 single crochet on the magic ring. So once you have worked your 6 single crochets, I'm gonna tighten the magic ring. So now for round 2 I'm gonna work 2 single crochet on each stitch around. So we have not worked slip stitch on top of our starting round, so we're starting our round 2 right away, just so that I don't miss my first stitch of each round. I'm marking it with the stitch marker, my first stitch with the stitch marker, and then I'll proceed working 2 single crochet on each stitch around. You should have 12 stitches at the end of round 2. Go ahead, work 2 single crochet on each stitch around. So once you're done with that, you can tighten your magic ring even more and secure it with a knot. So at the end of round 2 you will have 12 single crochet stitches. After your round 2 is done, tighten your magic ring even more and secure it with a knot, and then proceed working round 3. So for round 3 I'm going to work 1 single crochet in one stitch and 2 single crochet on the next stitch around. So once you have worked your first stitch, mark it with the stitch marker. Now we have worked 1 single crochet in one stitch. On the next stitch I'm going to work 2 single crochet, and then I will repeat this pattern around. I'll work 1 single crochet in one stitch and 2 single crochet on the next stitch around. You should have 18 stitches at the end of round 3. Continue working round 3. I'll meet you at the end of round 3. So now that round 3 is done, we're going to work round 4. So for round 4 we'll work 1 single crochet each for 2 stitches, and then I'll work 2 single crochet on the next stitch around. We'll work 1 single crochet each for 2 stitches and 2 single crochet on the next stitch around. After you have worked your first stitch, mark it with the stitch marker, and then proceed working on this pattern, which will be working 1 single crochet on each stitch for 2 stitches and then working 2 single crochet on the next stitch around. You should have 24 stitches at the end of round 4. So now snip off your yarn and then just add a little bit of polyfill to the pot, and then cover it up with the dirt that we have crocheted, and then work slip stitches on the back loop of each stitch of the flower pot along with the back loop of the dirt that we have crocheted in. Both of these the dirt and the flower pot have 24 stitches, so you can work 24 slip stitches around. So if you find it difficult to stuff it and work, just work a few slip stitches around with the yarn that we have in the base flower pot. Then grab the back loop of each stitches and work slip stitches around. So you should have 24 slip stitch at the end of this round. So keep working slip stitches around, and then keep stuffing your work with polyfill as you go. Don't overstuff or don't understuff. Just the right amount of polyfill will do. Then I'm gonna work slip stitches around. After that you can work a slip stitch, fasten off and weave your ends. Just working slip stitches around. So almost done with the slip stitch. I'm going to fasten off and work slip stitch and weave my ends, and then I'm going to use the blunt tip of metal crochet hook to tuck in the yarn bit inside the amigurumi itself, which will be the flower pot. So now that we are done with the flower, leaf and flower pot, we're going to assemble it together. Let's see how to do that. So this is the flower pot, and next I'm gonna use a metal wire and cut it using a cutter. And then what I'm gonna do is, first I'll apply glue gun and wrap the green yarn around it so that I don't see the wire anymore. After you have wrapped the green yarn on the wire, I'm gonna gently attach some hot glue and push one part of this metal wire inside the flower, and then I'm going to attach the leaf on the either side of the wire using glue gun. And here you go, the wonderful flower pot. That's easy and very quick project is ready. So you can work this up as a cute tabletop decor. So they work super. As spring is coming, this can be a cute decor for you, for your table. And if you want a free written pattern of this flower pot, it's available in my website, theyarnbowlcrochet.com. Link for that is available in the description. And if you have an Instagram account, do follow me on my Instagram handle. I post project updates and fun reels on my Instagram. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Bye.